Well, shalom, everybody. It's Sister Kate here. Obviously, I'm in a different location, and that is not to be disclosed for OPSEC, but I wanted to kind of touch bases with you all. There's Caramel Bear and Heather and Suda Dahal. Hello. Um, Seven Heather 7 is here. Sawson is here. There's Aid. He is a moderator, so behave yourselves. You could tell it was my phone, couldn't you? Because it's so daggone fuzzy. I still haven't gotten a new phone yet. Oh, you guys are too sweet. There's Palmetto Paratrooper. Shalom. Shalom, y'all. Yeah, hit the, what do you call it? The thumbs up button. And I appreciate everyone who comes to the live streams. I look forward to talking to people. There's the Lamb Keeper's Journey, published author with her book is at Muck Boots and Motherhood, but it's Deborine Publishing with our editor Sarah Williams. So she's got a book there, and you can plug it if you need. And there's Patty Sanchez. Thank you for supporting the channel, Patty. Patty's a longtime friend and Torah keeper who's just a real nice lady and an excellent gardener. Okay, all right. So, if you are from India, I need to give you special greetings because there was another person from India on the last live stream, charming young person, and really appreciated them being on the live stream. In general, I like Indian people. I like Indian food, and I think the the country is very fascinating. I've never been there, but just the culture and the the animals, the elephants, the tigers, birds, deer that bite, it's just a fascinating place. So I will say welcome to you. And let's see who else is here. There you go. Yeah, no problem. So, and ghee, they master ghee and what we call farmer's cheese. Exactly. Yeah, so what I wanted to talk about tonight was the interview with Luke Abafi. So, if you don't know who Luke Abafi is, I can give you just a brief breakdown of that. If you follow Torah, there is a documentary from about, 15 years ago called The Way. And in it, there were many interviews with Torah keeping people at the time, many of whom you probably know. And his wife was in on the production of that documentary. But the first time, and he wrote a book. Luke wrote a book called The Truth. So if you're biblically aware in any way, shape, or form, you're probably starting to see, kind of a pattern here. The way, the truth. So what would be next in the what am I trying to say? In the lineup there, what would be next, y'all? And let me wait and see if you guys will answer that. Can everybody hear me okay? If you can hear me okay, give me a thumbs up. Yeah, ghee is yummy. And you can can it. That's it, the life. Exactly, the life. The way, the truth, and the life. That's Yeshua, right? Well, Luke now has a podcast called The Life. And what he's actually doing is he is chronicling the lives of Torah keepers. And so all his interviews are with different people in the Torah movement and what they're doing with their lives right now. Thank you very much, Patty. So he's got all sorts of guests on there. And it's under his name, Luke Abafi, and the Life podcast. And if you put it in the YouTube, search engine, they're going to pop up. And so I did my interview with him, and he's got about an hour's video up there of it. He actually came to Shofar Mountain to do that interview interview, and we had to do it outside, just like I'm doing it outside today. It's not so much that the place that I'm staying in doesn't have Wi-Fi, they do. It's just that the areas that I can be in, like the basement or whatever, it just wasn't as nice. And I can be outside here, plug in my phone so I don't run out of battery. Hopefully the weather won't get too crazy. It's not too cold. Yeah, so then, here I am doing another outdoor live stream, right? There's Westhold Forge, shalom! So Westhold Forge is a very special person. He's a nice person. Oh, here comes a watchdog. They're ferocious. You might be able to see him in the background. What's going on, girls? Huh? He's just a really nice person. He's very self-effacing. He's very humble. And he knew that I had gotten that Jeep running, although I'm not driving it yet. There's a lot of work to be done on it yet. And there's that trend with the little ducks that are in the windshield. And in this particular Jeep, there is no, dashboard. It's just a straight-faced front. And so he came up with an alternative way to give me my very first duck. And the ducks are supposed to be like a happy thought for the day and like, I like your Jeep. He had little teeny tiny ducks, little rubber ducks, put in a shotgun shell. And apparently he knows someone who does this. And he gave me that in a transparent shotgun shell. So I thought that was adorable. And when I get it running, I will somehow figure out a way to keep it in the Jeep. And he's a blacksmith. And he has a channel, if you're interested in blacksmithing, on YouTube, Westhold Forge. So you guys, you can do that. You can go check him out. It makes my eyes leak every time. I can't listen to the live podcast during work. Yeah. It's hard to be serious, right? When you're hearing about it. A very well-mannered gentleman indeed, said Abe, because they had some conversations. Yeah. So, anyway, the first time I met Luke, Sarah had mentioned he was going to be at the first Refuge Ruckus. And she was the one who kind of filled me in on sort of who he was. She knew a lot more about him. And he was one of the guest speakers, and so were we. And so when you're a guest speaker, you show up early, you get the briefings, you hear what the plan is, and where you're going to be, and all that. Luke is a really cool guy, says Palmetto. Yeah, if you've gone to the channel and heard that man at all, he was born with a voice for radio. Like, he reminds me of a 1930s radio guy. And he's also super nice. And so we go to the first Refuge Ruckus, and I meet him, and he's got a really good laugh, and we're all sitting around talking and telling stories and everything. And just to ask a lot of questions. Asks a lot of questions, shows a lot of interest. Never had heard our story before and how our walking tour went and everything. And so we hit it off. And after Refuge Ruckus number 1, he had asked if PJ and I would do interviews with him. And I think he interviewed that time like Dudley and maybe the Angry Viking Therapist. I think he did Bear earlier on than that, or in between the two Refuge Ruckuses or whatever. And PJ is, not really looking to be in the limelight. He does his channel, but normally he's a pretty private person, so he declined the offer. But this time around for Refuge Ruckus, I emailed Luke because I had his email, and I said, "Hey, you going to be there?" And he said he was, and he said he was going to be the MC, which I think is a great position for him in any meetup, would be the MC, because he has that voice and that friendly personality. And so he emailed me back and he said, yeah, I'm definitely going to be there. I'm going to be the MC. Are you guys going to be there? Looking forward to seeing you. I'd still like to do an interview. And I told him, well, I'm probably going to be on baby watch for grandchildren coming, and we are willing to make a commitment to be at Refuge this time as speakers. And so he told me, well, I'm going to be there a little while afterwards too, doing the live podcast videos. And he actually went to JT and Sarah's farm, and he's getting into the actual, how are you living, not just what your life is like, but if you're off grid and all that, and you have a homestead, he wants to do a video on that. And so he contacted me, and we saw him at Sabbath, and just kind of touched the antennas, and then he said, I can come up to Shofar afterwards if you want, because we didn't really have time. He didn't want to do an interview on Shabbat, and I didn't blame him. Like, you don't want to do money-making things. You do no see me. Shalom. Shalom, you do no see me. And so he came up to Shofar, and he sat on the porch of the longhouse, and then he asked me questions, and I thought he did a great job. If you haven't watched the video yet, and you're interested in sort of a retrospective view of our Torah walk, because we've been doing our Torah walk about 12 years, and if you're newer to the movement than that, you may want to find out, how this thing kind of rolled around and became what it is today. Give you an idea more of the basis of at least our corner of it. We obviously do not have a monopoly on Torah and people coming to it. We're just part of the whole bigger picture, PJ and I. And then, the outreaching from all that. All the people we know, all the people you know, all that started with that really humble beginning. There is Air Gray. Shalom. So, having said all that, I have your interview saved to watch. Looking forward to it. Yeah, and I've already asked a few people before they watched it, hey, will you let me know if it makes sense? Because it's really, like, when I'm talking to someone face to face, I do try to make sure I'm making sense when I'm talking to them. But when you're doing an interview and you're talking for a long time, it's like, 15 minutes ago, did I say something dumb? Is he going to edit that out? You know what I mean? So, yeah. Patty, if you want to send me a gram message or something after you watch it, that'd be awesome. And I've already gotten some feedback from some people who said, it went well, and there were some really nice comments on it. And it's got a pretty good view. I heard others speaking about the interview, nothing but praise. Well, thank you, Air Gray. And the comments in the comment section were pretty positive too. So I like that. And maybe in the future I'll do a joint live with him. But right now, I don't feel comfortable doing a joint live. Just because I'm not at Shofar. I'm someone's guest, and I don't want to get all into all that stuff and have to figure out the times, and you have to invite him on YouTube and all this other stuff. That'll probably be later. Can I donate in a little bit? I think these things to have the super chat ability, and if they don't, you can also join the channel on my YouTube channel. There's a join button, and you can join and become a member, and it's a financial thing, kind of like Patreon. It's just different. It's YouTube's version of it. But I think it's a super chat, so you should be able to donate if you want to. I think this little thing in the corner will tell me what we've got going on here. Is it supposed to be top chat, live chat, or super chat? Which one am I supposed to be doing? Super chat member and super chat messages, because I don't know how many of you are super chat members. So just see if you can find it, or one of you guys here listening, if you know about it, you can help this guy out, help me out. The $sign is available. Okay, Age said. So somewhere there's a $sign. If you really want to do that, you're welcome to do that. Okay, so the thing I like about Luke within the movement is that he's kind of recording the history of the movement, at least the part that he and his wife were a witness to. Super chat lets you select your dollar amount. because they've been in the movement, as long as we have. And because she did a documentary and then he did a book and he's doing a podcast, it's actually taking down all the details over that long amount of time of changes in the movement. And obviously, I've had changes within the movement because I used to wear a head covering and wear a skirt. And I did that for about 10 years. And then PJ said, no, I want to see your hair and you don't have to wear a skirt. And so I switched back to dressing the way I dress now to please my husband. And other than that, the rest of our walk is pretty much the same. Keeping the feasts, trying to, keep the laws. And when we break the laws, we ask for forgiveness from Yeshua and not turn back to mistakes we've made, right? There's MMS, hello, and Stray Kitten on the phone. $ is on the right of the chat box, says Stray Kitten. Okay, thank you, and welcome to the live stream. So, what's up with you all? Do you have any questions, comments? Passover's coming up. Passover's coming up in just a few days, and then it's unleavened bread also. So if you are trying to do Passover, Leviticus 23 is the place for you to go in the Bible to find out, instructions. Excuse me. And I plan on making my own matzah. I'll probably end up doing that Thursday. Simple. Good evening, Rock Lick Ranch. Flour, water, and a little bit of olive oil, and just pan fry, shake, mix it up, make it into a roll, cut the roll, take each little piece, just like you do with biscuits, flatten it out, fry it in the frying pan, matzah. The cool thing about matzah, well, you guys tell me, have you made it before? Do you like it? How are things on your homestead, Rocklick Ranch? I make it often, says Kermode. Never had it. You should try it. It's very plain, but the good thing about it is it's very versatile. You can it makes my mouth water to think about the fact that if you make yourself some, you can put the cinnamon and the sugar on it, just like you do on cinnamon sugar toast, and eat it that way, and it's really good. I prefer the less bloating from the unleavened, right? It has no yeast, no leaven in it, so you don't get that bloaty, full feeling that you get from just regular bread. And I know people who make matzah pizza, matzah tacos. They dip it in chocolate and have it as a dessert. It's really good. Great. We've got a tornado shelter last fall, and we had a dry run last night. Does that mean that you had a storm that kind of prompted you in, or you just scheduled your dry run? Starting seed trays today. Looking forward to the thaw. Exactly. Excuse me. This is my first time having Passover. I'm learning as I go. And that's what it happened for some of us too. And the good thing is, this is not the Passover. You are not in Egypt, escaping out into the desert. This is a memorial to the original. And so if you're not doing it exactly, it's okay, right? You're just trying to spend some time with the Lord on a day that was very, very special to him. And again, Leviticus 23 kind of tells you, and there are some people who do a Seder. It's not a requirement, but there's nothing, like, as long as you have the lamb and a bitter herb, and let me think, I don't think there's, you can have the unleavened bread too. As long as you have those three elements, you're good to go. And then you can add, like if you have children, there's a whole side deal where people will make sometimes not puppets, but like little cutouts of the different plagues of the the locusts and the frogs and the this and the that, and let the kids and read the Passover story, and let the kids like hold their sign up when it's that part of the reading. There's a whole thing about the Passover, and children. So it can be as fun and involved as you want it to be. And something that our group was looking into is the night of watching. That it says you're to stay up all night and you're to watch and be ready to leave in the morning. And so we're kind of looking into that because it's so similar to, being a bug out thing and having a bug out bag and, your sandals on your feet and your walking stick in your hand and just, so there's, yeah. Hey, Travis Bolt, long time no see. Thank you for supporting the channel. Let's see what we got going on here. I dropped some off with the son. He wants to do the best he can to keep Pesach this year. Awesome. Tornadoes were nearby last night. Holy cow. Glad you're all right. Cinnamon sugar's it's a good idea, and I'm not tried. All right. Okay, there we go. Bless you, bless you. Well, if everything goes well, we'll be doing Passover in our new single wide next year. The hubby got fed up with trying to build, and honestly, after almost 4 years in a camper, I'm ready too. Well, that's exciting. There's Andrea Zeus. Thank you, Andrea. Sister Andrea. Andrea is just the nicest woman. She is on Bears Women's Group Wednesday, Patreon group, I believe she leads it, or some sort of involvement in there. Just the sweetest, nicest lady. I'm probably going to be seeing her in a month, and I'm looking forward to it. Mary Seal, is Passover to only be shared with believers? I read that somewhere. I believe that's what it said. Now, you got to, sure, PJ's got a teaching on it. You have to take it with a grain of salt. Again, we're not doing the Passover, right? We are not the Israelites who've been in prison to the Egyptians for the last 400 years. We're doing a memorial to it. And so I think the word does say, don't let the uncircumcised keep it with you. But then there's a whole nother verse that says, within your gates, everyone's going to keep certain things. I think you might have to put that question to either PJ or Bear or someone, or, Google it real quick, because I'm not an expert on that finer point. Hello, and how are you? Just came across your live stream. Just want to wish you all the best and good luck with everything. Big hello from Northern Ireland. Well, thanks, Mr. Blue. You guys are having your you have the best butter in the world, Ireland, and it's true. At least from what this woman is experienced, the Irish butter is just fantastic. So you guys are on a win right now. You're on an upward trajectory. That is some serious wind, ma'am. Yeah, it could be pretty serious. It could be a lot worse, and that sky could be deceiving. I don't know that it's going to rain here tonight. I am hoping to share it with my granddaughter, as I am the only one in the family, and as I grow, the family is watching me closely. Another idea is to check your local directory or the 119 Ministries page for congregations or people near you, because some yellow page phone books or yellow page phone books that list churches might actually have like a Torah keeping church in there. And 119's congregational map, when Pastor and I first came across it, had like 3 people. Now, when you go on there, it's like everywhere. There's little arrows everywhere for Torah keepers. So you might be able to find someone else who's doing that. Even some Christian churches will do it. They will have a Seder or a Passover thing. Let's see. I look forward to seeing you all and ladies next month. Don't let the uncircumcised eat of the Passover. Right, said Trev. That is, not celebrating it. What do I do for a living? I'm retired. Butter. We love our butter. The thing about Ireland that surprises me, I watch Garen, I forget his last name, the musician, on Instagram. And when he does these reviews of foods and he talks about, Irish foods, and it seems very, very foreign to me. Like, I'm just picturing maybe fish and chips, which I love, and I know my experience with them is from the UK. But I mean, if you told me you have chip shops there and it's really good, like I would believe that. And soda bread and maybe some sausages and things. But yeah, it's like, wow, if I ever get there, I'm going to definitely try some of the whatever standard Irish food, everyday food, because peas, right? Peas and mashed potatoes and like sausages or something, and that butter. Bentley Miles, Shalom from Utah, bought Prepared Families for a Strong America almost 11 years ago now, and have been following along ever since. Well, that's pretty cool, Bentley. Yeah, it hasn't been 11 years. I remember when PJ was writing that, formulating it, taking the photos for it and everything. He spent time and effort, and he wanted to make it relatable and easy to do. Look, you guys, you know how it is. When I do these live streams, there's a cat right here checking stuff out. I hope I don't ruin my angle. What are you doing? Hey, you crazy little cat. If there's an animal within 100 miles of somebody doing a live stream, they're going to have to show up and show off. But she's gorgeous, but she's a pest. Go on. Crazy. And I have a book too, Bentley. I have a book called Homestead Hints on Amazon about homesteading. If you are homesteading or want to or thinking about doing it, it's on there under SK Fox. There's edits. Hi, I'm new. Welcome to the channel. Fellowship Finder, exactly. Grace Akers. Hey, Shalom. And Dusty. Take care. Stay safe, everyone. You too, Mr. Blue. Stay warm. Journey of John. Shalom, y'all. Welcome. I have, sadly, there's almost none in my area. I've been watching for anyone new to add themselves. I jumped on 119 the day I heard about it. Either I meant to move or others will be added as well. I also tell people who are by themselves, sometimes you're by yourself to improve yourself and get ready to be part of a group. Because sometimes the Father's like, spend more time in the Word, or get used to leaning on me, and then I'll bring you into a group. So don't be discouraged, because a lot of people who start out that way don't stay that way. What do you think of that background, y'all? Kind of cool, kind of mountainy, kind of deserty. All right, let's see what else we've got comment-wise. My copy is autographed, says Palmetto. Yes, some people got autographed copies. Sitting in the dark, storm took out the electricity. Where are you, Journey of John? And was it the ice storm up north, or was it like a thunderstorm? Hopefully you get your power back soon. Blessings to all, says Christy B. Westfield Forge. I have to walk this giant dog that adopted me. I'll be back. I replied to your Instagram about that dog too. Shalom. And there's Nancy C. Shalom. Southern Michigan, 95-mile-an-hour winds took out the power. And it also is icy, right? Huge ice all over your trees and everything. I lost my father yesterday. Although he was old, it was a bit unexpected, feeling a bit lost. Well, I'm sorry about that, Dusty. That's going to leave a hole and be quite painful for a while, I'm sure. Very unfortunate. Very sad. Excuse me. Nancy C., what are you up to? I know you're up to something, because you're never sitting around with idle hands. Ice in the north, yep. I can absolutely take that word. You could be 100% correct. I fully embrace that I need to be refined. Awesome. Yeah, prayers for Dusty, for her or his loss. I mean, that's tough for anybody. I lost my dad when I was 10. And at that time, some sort of chicken action going on back there. At that time, I was a little bit young, and it was, a blow. But our life changed so quickly after that I didn't, have a whole lot of time to, I guess, grieve. Made some wild violet jelly. Wow. I'm so impressed. I know Shofar's got a lot of wild violets. They were coming out everywhere in my garden, which is not where I wanted them. I dug up a bunch of them last year and transplanted them all over the property. And did I see any of them survive? No. But I'm determined when I get back to dig up more and move them around and try to get them to, because they're awesome. They're so gorgeous. The purple of the violets is just amazing. Right? I'm sure you made it from the flowers, right? And made sort of a drink of juice and then made the jelly, add the sugar and the pectin. Yeah, hey Suze. Shalom. Hey Suze, I met her face to face at the Ruckus, I think, right? Or was it at the wedding? I met you recently. That's a lot of violets to pick. That's true. Very plentiful plant, full of nutrients. Yes, and it's also what do you call it? You can like put them in ice cubes and freeze them, and then have them in your drinks. Like they are edible. Wild violets are edible and free for nothing if they're in your area. Yeah, we met at the Ruckus. It was great to meet you. Well, thanks. It was such a rushed trip, the Ruckus, for us this year. I mean, we kind of slid in and then headed back. But it is a really great. Did you have fun there? Whoever was at Ruckus this year, please tell me, did you have a good time? Lilacs make good jelly too. Yeah, and there's let me think, dandelions. Oh, Queen Anne's lace. Come on, y'all, share. If you went to Ruckus, did you enjoy yourself? You can even say what was your favorite part, if you want. Because it's like a big old Torah keeper gathering, and normally those are very enjoyable, especially if you get to meet other Torah keepers outside of your area and like hear their testimonies. Andrea said, my son and I had a great time. I met her son. He's just such a typical teenager, but, well-behaved, reserved. And I asked him, like, you're actually kind of bored here, right? I mean, there were a lot of older people, and he just kind of smiled, that little smile, like, oh, yes, but I don't want to say anything. Yeah. Redbud jelly, there you go, yeah. And I've heard, West Virginia Torah Preserver, I have heard you can make it from, no, that's not, you don't make jelly, you make pickles from the seed pods. I had heard that. I haven't done it before. I had a blast. Probably the only place it felt normal around that many people in years. And another thing people say about going to gatherings like that, such a relief not to have to worry about food. Because if there's any food there, it's going to be okay for you to eat it. You're not going to have to worry that there's some sort of hidden ingredient in there. I didn't go. I watched every live that I could find, though. Cool. I didn't get to meet you, so Nancy. I'll have to try that. Says Kermode, Patty Sanchez. I had a great time at the Ruckus. Shabbat was my favorite part, but also the women's session with two awesome speakers, which I didn't end up being able to go to, so I'm going to have to hear all about it when you and I see each other again, Patty. I did get to witness baptisms. And it was a cold day, kind of rainy and overcast, but they still had like a trough or two full of water out front of the location. And God bless them. How many people were baptized this time around? 60 something? I mean, several people were like, nope, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to get dunked. And all of us find that inspirational. It's just really cool. Forsythia jelly. Oh, I could have actually have made that if I were home. We actually have a budding forsythia these days. So many people, I found out later, were there. I didn't meet. I need to just walk up to everyone and see. And it helps at events like that. And if you decide to hold an event for Torah keepers, keep this in mind. To have a name tag and have like at least your first name and also your online name. Because it's really hard to, if the online name is a lot different from their real name, it's kind of hard to put the two together, I know who Lone Star Living is. I'm sure I've heard his first name before. I'm not sure I have it right. You know what I'm saying? And some of you like Patty and Nancy make it easy because, my wife also had great things to say about the women's session. Well, women getting together, talking about things or sharing and stuff like that, it's always good for us. It's always good for us. The baptisms were amazing and cool that the homeless guy wanted to be baptized too. Oh yeah, I forgot about that homeless guy. Yes, there was a homeless guy who got inspired and came up there and got baptized. Right, mine's easy and so is Suze's. And Aid's. If you know him, you can just call him Aid. Right? So, who else is going to be doing Passover? Everybody? Some of you? And he rapped before his baptism. I did not get to hear that. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That is amazing. That's just what people say when people want something. He was a hoot. Yes, he was. Well, hi, Tootie. I'm doing it alone this year. No one local is doing it. I'm doing it alone too. Well, I might have one or two people doing it with me, but I mean, the onus is kind of falling on me. So, I've got to make sure I don't slide, just because I'm not right there with PJ this time. Got to make sure I uphold the faith. And I'm sure the Father will bless whatever we attempt and memorialize. I wish I had someone to do Passover with, says Grace Acres. Well, we will do it alone together. There you go. All of us alones out here will be still spiritually together. Yes, to Passover here as well, and it's a gathering either way. Exactly right. Oh, and there was something else I wanted to mention about Luke's channel. They have started, mainly his wife, Katie, has started a Hebrew singles website. If you're a Hebrew single and you want to meet someone who will hopefully become your spouse, they are starting that kind of ministry on their page. And they did do some sort of an introductory video on it. Now, I don't know how many of you that might affect. Maybe you're already married, maybe you're not interested or whatever. But if you know of anyone, or it's you, go there. Go to Luke Abafi's podcast page, The Way, the Truth, the Life. It's the Life. And the video's on there. And the really interesting thing about what they're doing is there used to be a web page like that. There used to be a web page called Hebrews, and I think there might have been one other ones like Hebrews Dating or something that were actually that kind of thing like 10 years ago, and then they closed down. So I think it came from when Luke and I were talking. I don't know if that ended up on the video or not. But I explained to him how my son and my daughter-in-law met each other, and maybe that inspired them. But anyway, they are talking to the lady who used to run the Hebrews dating site, and so they're getting tips on how to do these things. And I'm sure it'll, they'll pray and they will, try to do sort of a matching, who you are and where you live and your age and all that stuff under the biblical covering of Torah and, your faith in the Father to see if they can make some matches. And I think that's actually not a bad idea. In the Bible, parents, family, usually, set people up, and then sometimes the men would choose wives for themselves, but you normally go through the dad, and there's just a whole thing going on there, and they are starting to do that over there. So if you know anyone, there you go. I think it's really interesting. Can you explain the Sabbath to me? This happens every week, Moonlight asks. Yes, Sabbath is let me get this right. First day is Sunday. So Sabbath is the seventh day. It's this one day out of a week that we are told to rest. And it's in Leviticus 23. There's a description. It's also the fourth commandment, tells you you're to rest, your servants are supposed to rest, your animals are supposed to rest. And it's like a mini vacation every week. And it is the evening of Friday. When the sun goes down Friday, that's when Sabbath starts. And it goes through when the sun goes down on Saturday. And in that time frame, you're also supposed to have prepared food so that you don't even have to cook. You're not supposed to boil or seethe and boil your food. So like you're not supposed to cook your food. You're supposed to have prepared your food so you can just rest. And in resting, you can read the word, you can watch, things online, you can watch sermons or worship music or even movies. It's rest, and it's a gift. Sabbath is for man, made for man. It's for us to have a break from the rat race that we live in our everyday lives and spend a little time enjoying the blessing that the Father has given us. So that is what Sabbath is. Sabbath or Shabbat. Alone together also, said Mary Sue. Looking forward to Passover. I love Yah's feast and how the physical teaches the spiritual. Exactly. My son and I will be doing it alone. I'm not sure if we go to the Seder at the congregation 2 hours away from us. It could be, a kind of fun experience, but that's a long drive too. Patty Sanchez, I double dog dare you to sign up for the single show. I don't know if it's a show. It's a website, so I don't know if they're actually going to have like I don't know if it's going to be like a dating game. I don't think so. I haven't really gotten all the details, but Patty, you could at least go over there and see what's up. Get your name on the list, give them a little info. Watch out, might triple dog dare you right back. Ooh, pow. We're not alone, and the guest of honor is there, says Mary. Exactly. No way. No desire to be filmed. I don't think they're going to film it, Patty. I don't think so. I think it's just a sign up, and then they can try to, let you guys exchange digits or something. I'm back and late with this, but nasturtium is the best tasting flower and bees love them. Nasturtiums are also pretty flowers, and their seed pods taste like pepper. So they're like one of those edible ones too. Wessel, did you get my information about your big dog? Like, do you want to keep this big dog? Do you think it had an owner? Do you want to try to find an owner? Whatever. Eric Gray said, Bear joked that if you are looking for a partner, go to the Ruckus, as many seem to be meeting there. And I will not speak this, but I mean, Ruckus could end up being, could have the matchmaking room at Ruckus, right? Could happen. My wife brings up me getting another more than I do. I think she wants the company. Another dog? I'm on the fence. I need to pray about it more. There you go. It's all worth it. Thank Yah for Shabbat. Yes, it is all worth it. Being new to all this, the resting part is the hardest part, right? Because it's such an American thing that Saturday is the day you like mow your lawn, go shopping, maybe go out to a movie, visit your friends, do some sports, whatever. It's your day off. It's, half middle of the weekend, all of that. But excuse me, it quickly becomes, if you keep it that way, your week just entirely changes its flavor. And then Sunday is no longer, like church day. Sunday is actually get stuff done day. And so like after you've rested for an entire day, we hit our projects pretty hard on Sunday. We've had our rest. Let's do it. Let's get it taken care of. So thank you, SK. I'm new to the scriptures. Leviticus 23. That's the go-to scripture to read about these feasts and things. He said they will film the meetup with your match. Oh. Yeah, you would have to be a little brave, wouldn't you? that might be a little bit harder to be comfortable with. Maybe it's an option, or maybe he is saying they are going to do it. I don't know. That might be a little intimidating. I so look forward to resting each week. It's still hard for me to see things and not do something, but that rest is wonderful. And for me personally, and I'm not saying this is that I'm 100% right. I'm just saying, after years of experience, this is what I think about that. Because Friday's the day of prep. Friday's the day you're meant to get ready for your rest day. And for me, I can start as early as far back as Thursday, doing some of the cleaning. But I don't know that the rest day is meant to be stressful for you. And so and some people say, like, you're supposed to be as ready as if Yeshua was coming as a guest in your house. And it used to freak me out. Like, oh my gosh, there's no way I'm going to get my house perfect enough. And then I realized, if the Sabbath is made for your rest, maybe you ought not to be thinking that way, because Jesus can see us at any time, all the time. And he knows we're imperfect, and he knows we're not going to get it right. And he knows, we're trying, but I don't think that's the purpose of that rest day, is for you to get all freaked out about it. And so I started thinking, all right, I'm going to get done the stuff that I can get done that will allow me to rest on Sabbath. And like you're saying, just ignore the other stuff. And so I have certain things I've set for myself, including the food for, the congregational get together, and have enough food on hand for Pastor and I to have like breakfast and lunch. And I'm convinced sandwiches were created for Shabbat, because you're not cooking them, right? You're just putting some stuff together. So like sweeping the floor, making the bed, and everyone's like, well, yeah, you should be doing that every day. Well, we work really hard on shofar, and I don't always have the desire or the time to make the house look great and then go do things out on the land. It's like going outside and doing stuff on the land often takes all day, and I'm worn out. But like doing the stuff that will allow me to just sit there and go, okay, that's good enough. Right? So yeah, I look forward to it a lot. I have it on the local Facebook town sites. If someone claimed him, I would be happy for them, but I would not be upset to keep him. Well, and if you've got him on there, then, especially if you were able to put a picture of him. That helped me when I found that German short-haired pointer. My daughter put a picture of her up there, and that's what the person saw and knew it was their grandpa's dog. Saturday, everyone does the garage sales too. I'm a junker at heart. Laugh out loud. It pains me. Sometimes I do them on Sundays too. Exodus 12 was also very insightful for context on the Passover. Absolutely. Had to leave for a minute, but back. Yep, Erev is all about prepping food and finishing final chores. An unmade bed is a healthier bed. Okay. It's the things like gardening or sewing that I enjoy, but also our work. Especially mending or weeding. Right, you can't walk by the garden on Shabbat and be like, well, I'll just pull a few little weeds out. Or, I didn't water it. Maybe I should water it. It's like, really, no. It'll hold a day. You can do that later, right? I make sure my counters are pretty much wiped off, so I don't feel like, oh, I got to wipe that off. But Sabbath is pretty cool, and I'm not going to lie. All right. What else? What else do I want to talk about with you guys? Hang on. Northern Michigan had the ice storm. I was looking up Syria, but right now I can't think of why. What about it was... Oh, I was looking up the difference between the Sunni and the Shia Muslim sects. And yeah, it is the way I thought. Shia are the Muslims who think that a bloodline relative of Muhammad should be the leader of the faith, and the Sunnis are the ones who say, no, it should be like teachers who are following what he taught best. And I was looking up Syria because they are Arabs. I didn't know that. And there's a difference between the Arabs and like the Persians. I think the Persians were mostly Shia and the Arabs were mostly Sunni. And I got all embroiled in all that because as much as the Muslims don't like Christians or Jews, they also have lots of infighting between those groups. And in the good old days, they would try to kill each other and kill the last, like Muhammad's nephew was killed in a battle. So I don't even know how the Shia are tracing that these days. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know how I got onto that, but I was deep into that. What would you say are the most important factors of PJ and yourself having such a long and successful marriage? Okay, that's a really good question. One was commitment. I mean, number one, commitment. Because what you're entering into, if you want to look at it in a different frame of mind, you're entering into a partnership. Let's pretend it's a business partnership, right? And each one of you is coming into that partnership with a certain amount of capital, cash, and fill in the blanks in whatever way, emotional capital or physical capital or whatever. You are both then in agreement with each other that you are going to join all your capital together and you're going to stay that way your whole lives. So if you just think about it that way, how much business can you do when you have a partner that you can trust and you're both working towards one goal? Like, how successful do you think that would be? And then picture the same thing, that partnership where you're committed, because in that, metaphorical partnership, suppose one partner falls on hard times, maybe he becomes an alcoholic or she becomes an alcoholic, or they just have, issues. I don't want to do this thing, or I don't want to do that thing. Is it better for the business to just tear the business apart, or is it better for the business if both partners then work towards getting the one partner back in shape, right? And so we were very committed. And the other thing that really made it easy for us is we were faithful. Once I was married, there was no desire in my heart to be with anybody else, to put any strain on our relationship. Nothing was tempting enough for me to say, I'm going to stab my partner in the back. All those promises I gave to my family and his family and my friends and his friends when we stood up together and promised we would stay married, I didn't want to betray any of them. I didn't want to betray myself. I didn't want to betray my partner, and it was the same for him. Once we said, yeah, you're the one, and close, we met when we were younger, so he had standards, and I was letting kind of the Spirit lead me, sort of. But when I met him, I knew he was the one, right? And so that is really the keys to keeping a successful marriage. And you gotta have some standards. You've got to have some ideas, some morals, some like I said, standards for who you're going to accept. Because as we all know, there are people in this world who are attractive to more than one person. And I always use Brad Pitt as an example. Brad's old, just like I am. So the new young people, Harry Styles or somebody, he's not attractive to just one woman. And he's probably attracted to more than one woman, right? But not every person on the planet is going to be able to marry him. Well, it's the same with you. You're probably going to be attracted to more than one person. And biologically, the people you are attracted to match you in a way where your genetics mesh together well. Okay, and you create children that are generally a good outcome from your attraction. But you're not going to be attracted to just one individual, because there's a lot of people who will have the biological counterpoint to you, So then that's where you start using your judgment. And the Bible has it even more refined and more effective. It's not your decision only. Your parents are supposed to be in on that decision. And I think it's because parents have been around the block more than one time and they know what a responsible, reliable person looks like. And they know what someone who's a little bit, what do you call it? Not shaky, a little bit sketchy. Does he have a bank account? Can he hold a job? Does he have outbursts of temper? Or does she say she's going to be somewhere and she's not? Is she frivolous with her money? There's things to look for that people who are under the biological attraction may ignore. But that older, wiser person is going to say, nope, I've seen that before. That's not going to be sustainable over 60 or 70 or 80 years. So yeah, that's mainly my secrets. Okay. Strawberries are in bloom here. Ours too. There's probably strawberry in my greenhouse right now. Well said. We talk about the importance of getting through hard times together and how they've only strengthened us. I've had at least a tomato plant on a balcony for more than a year. It's all worth it. Being attracted is normal. We're all human, but staying faithful and keeping that promise is the most important thing. Words of wisdom. Thank you. All right, y'all. It's been an hour. That's kind of where I, decided I would do because I figured the weather would get cold and dark, and it has. My fingertips are getting cold. That's why I'm rubbing my hands together. So, last questions, comments, whatever, hit me with them. Spit them out. What's that burning thing? Miss you, SK. It's all worth it. Excuse me. Shalom, sister, says Rock Lick Ranch. To everyone who's lost power, I hope your power comes back. To everyone who's lost people, I hope the Lord gives you some comfort. To anyone who's been ill, I hope you feel better. Your lives go so fast. Great topics and conversations. Thank you. I mean, I would love to go on for 3 hours, but quite frankly, it's the end of a long day and I'm getting tired too. Shalom, SK, we appreciate your time. Oh, thank you. That's really sweet. It's all worth it, Tony and Melissa. I miss you guys too. I know that there are, it's a hard time right now. And I'm still waiting. That's what I'm doing. I'm in a holding pattern. Thank you for your time. Saz, shalom. Saz, I would have loved to chat with you more. I'm about to shut my live stream down. Is there anything specific you wanted to talk about? Or are you just swinging by to say howdy? Same to you, Texas T. Yeah, I was about to shut this guy down, but I'm willing to hang on for a few more minutes if there's something pressing you'd like to discuss. Did I miss something, or are you considering leaving Shofar Mountain? I am absolutely not considering leaving Shofar Mountain. I am visiting people, and people important to me, so I'm fine. Yes, no. No, I'm not leaving Shofar Mountain. Prayers for our sister who lost her husband unexpectedly. Absolutely. Love and their sober party. Enjoyed the visit, but I'm too pooped too. Time to go to bed. Thank you, SK. Shalom, shalom, shalom. There's Red Pepper. Shalom. What was the interview? Okay, I'll talk about it again. I talked about it at the beginning, but I don't mind going over it again. So there's a guy named Luke Abafi. He has a podcast called The Life. His wife was involved in the making of a documentary called The Way, which was made, 12, 15 years ago, about people leaving, regular Christian churches and becoming Hebrew roots, Torah, searching people. And then he wrote a book on the same topic called The Truth. He was at the Ruckus, and he has done interviews on his podcast with Torah believers of all different walks, from doctors to worship people to videographers to all sorts of people. And so I did a recent interview with him. It's about an hour long, and it's on his webpage. And we discussed the early, at least for us, the beginnings of our Torah walk and the larger Torah community as we encountered it, and some of the changes that happened in the last 10, 12 years. He and his wife have been really involved in all that, and he has seen and they've recorded so much of the history of this movement, which I think is historically significant, actually. I mean, it's been like a revival, just like that revival in the 1820s and the pilgrims showing up on these shores looking for a life based on biblical truth. It seems like it's almost a 100-year cycle. I'll check the replay just out of a webinar, or I would have been here. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, just check the replay on his channel or here. Luke is awesome. I met him at the Ruckus. He's a very nice guy. And they also started his wife a Hebrew singles dating ministry thing that I think is kind of interesting. They're going to try to do some matchmaking and I guess video some of the people when they meet each other for the first time. I don't know. Awesome. Thank you, PJ, and you have blessed many with your walk. I think that was the Lord's songs, but yeah, we've been really, it is a blessing, but also, not convenient. It's a word that starts with a C. We have been lucky to be in this walk at this time and see where faith has grown and changed in America. We've been in on that, not from the beginning. There's been people who've been in America on this walk way longer than us, years and years ago. But it was fortunate for us that we also got in it, and I bet you feel the same way. Because it takes a Christian life and it turns it even richer, as if any of us imagine that could be possible. Praise Yah. Yeah, and it is worldwide. I know it's worldwide because there are people I know who are Torah keepers in other companies, or countries, not just in like Israel, which is obvious, but around the world. I believe it is an awakening of his people. PJ was the final source of info for me to take this walk, said Texas T. Well, and there are other people too. I mean, we're involved, but there are other people who have been influencing in a good way, trying to pass on the knowledge, trying to share the experience with others. And so between the 4 channels that I know about, that's 1 million people who've heard the word and the way that we read it and believed it. God is calling and drawing his people. I think my tiny little part of it, which I say in the interview, is that as someone who studied literature in college, when I read the Bible, I could understand it as a work of literature, to understand it as a story of a character in a setting with a timeline and all of that, and it made absolute sense to me. I could not see in that story all these problems other people said were in there. And I think it's simply because of my experience and my not training, but you know what I mean, being taught to look at it as a work, as a book. I think that's really what I could bring to the whole body. I like to say I'm like the toenail, the pinky toenail. But that's what I think. We sang the hymn growing up, Just a Closer Walk with Thee, and this is what Yah is giving us at Red Pepper. I sang that too. Few SF couples. Hang on. Whoa, let me get back here. Few SF couples stay together or our public voices in the walk. The body is big. There's a few of us, huh, Sauce? I so enjoy the live podcast. Luke and Katie are bringing so many followers together, even if only through the internet. It is comforting to hear others walk in true faith, says West Virginia Preserver. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even get to watch the whole video, but he had an interview with a pastor whose whole church came to Torah when the pastor came to Torah. What a concept. I mean, that's such a blessing for that pastor and everyone in his congregation to make that gorgeous spiritual move as a one body, one congregation. All right, is that good for you all? Is that, because I'm getting cold, y'all. My fingers are getting cold, and you can see the weather behind me. It's getting late. It's getting dark. All right, bless you all. Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to talk longer. Maybe next time I will try to get this thing inside so I can spend more time. Yes, blessings to everyone. Shalom. Always good to see everybody. Thank you. Shalom. Let me go this way. Shalom. Didn't work. Try again. Hands are too cold. The phone won't do it. All right, there we go.